and welcome to Legal Affairs. My name is Diamond Liddy, and I'm the public defender for the 19th Judicial Circuit. We are going to talk about something that is so important, especially now with everything that's going on. And we are so blessed to have our wonderful guest, Amy Burns. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you, Diamond.
And Amy, your formal title is Deputy Director of Florida Rural Legal Services,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
Okay. We had someone from Florida Rural Legal Services on the show, gosh, about a year and a half ago, who talked about things that I was just amazed about. I did not realize how much your office encompasses, but we're going to get to that in a minute. Because right now I know people, are struggling in so many ways, and to know that there are legal services out there for them, some, free in most instances, is just a godsend. But let's talk about you for a moment. Amy, give us a little of your background, how long you've been in this area, where you worked before. I know one great office you worked
my
at.
my first real legal job in Florida was at Simon with you. I think it was like 23 years ago,
Yeah.
if I can admit that.
It was a long time.
Yeah, so you gave me my first chance, and I appreciate that. I've been with Florida Rural Legal Services for 14 years. I started as a staff attorney and then a managing attorney, and now I'm in administration. And before that, I was an assistant public defender.
Great,
Yeah.
great. And give us, if you will, give us the well, let's back up. The Public Defender's Office represents people accused of crimes who cannot afford a private attorney, and we only handle criminal, period, end of story. Everything, from DUIs to first-degree murders involving the death penalty. However, there's a civil component, if you will, of the Public Defender's Office. So kind of give us an overview of what your office does.
Okay, so, and we do end up seeing, I think, a lot of families that you have helped
Sure.
because of the intersection, and a lot of the clients that we get have been touched by the criminal justice system. But what we do is we provide assistance for civil legal matters to low-income people. And like in criminal law in 1963, the Supreme Court said that people have a right to an attorney in a criminal case.
Right.
In the cases that we do, people don't have a right to an attorney. And a lot of people think that civil law is just about money. But really what we do is we are helping people keep a roof over their head. We're helping people keep custody of their children, family stability, personal safety, victims of domestic violence. They don't have a right to an attorney, so we try to fill that gap. Unfortunately, studies show that only 20% of the people that need legal assistance, civil legal assistance, actually receive it. So we work, every day. We have unbelievable, not just us, it's a lot of legal aids across the country to try to fill that gap. And pro bono attorneys, we have a lot of pro bono attorneys that are generous with their time. But really, I think that's one of the things I was hoping and wanted to do coming on the show, is just to let people know, what we do and really how important it is.
Sure.
It's the basic necessities that we try to provide, housing, food, shelter, safety. And then on top of that, we try to help people get out of poverty. So that's why we work with your office sometimes and do
Sure.
expungements. We try to remove barriers. We have a Drive to Work program that helps people get their licenses back. Because a lot of people don't know that the criminal justice system, when you get caught up in that, even if you have an offense that has nothing to do with driving,
you can get your
you
license.
get your license if you don't pay your fees and your fines. So we started a program where we work with the clerk's office and set up payment plans, because we know that people, if they can't drive, they can't get a job, they can't take their children to the doctors. So ultimately we want to help people live in dignity, and we start with the basic necessities, but we do so much more.
Oh, no. I mean, it is incredible. I don't know how you do it. Let's go back a moment. what is your staff? Give me the hierarchy, the organizational plan, if you will, of your office.
Okay, so we have an executive director. So we have administration.
Right.
And an executive director. We have a brand new, well, not brand new, she's been here a year, and she has years of experience, new executive director. And her name is Jaffe Pickett.
And I'm sorry, let's back up a moment, too. And again, I keep referring to the public defender's office, but you're our civil counterpart, if you will. So the public defender's office, there's 20 judicial circuits in the state of Florida. All of the entire state's broken up into 20 judicial circuits. Each judicial circuit has a public defender and a state attorney. Okay. How is it broken up
we're an independent nonprofit, so we're not really a governmental agency, although we're funded primarily by Legal Services Corporation in Washington, and they fund over 800 legal aid organizations across the country. How
did that get started?
I think it was in 1974, because we were originally funded I think it was 1966, for a special project from the Shriver Center to help farm workers, migrant farm workers, and we still do that. We still serve migrant farm workers across the state. So we originally had a grant from them that got us started, and then Legal Services Corporation, I think Congress enacted, and Legal Services Corporation was started to fund civil legal aid, and it came out of the whole Shriver Center and the economic opportunities.
I got to find out what president was responsible for that.
You have to ask the history, yeah.
No, I'm serious. I want to know. That's way
it's
cool.
Incredible.
Okay, so but how is it broken up?
So there's regions in the state, and I know that Legal Services Corporation, they fund organizations in Florida. So there's Legal Services of Mid-Florida that's up in like Jackson, I guess Brevard. No, they're not Brevard. Where I go. Up north.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
And then there's Jacksonville Legal Aid, there's Miami, Legal Services of Miami, there's Bay Area Legal Services over in Tampa. So they're spread out in regions. But there's a bunch of non-legal service funded organizations also across the country. So
okay,
there's a lot.
What are your boundaries?
Okay, so we go from like one side of Florida to the other, but we have an office in Palm Beach. We have an office in Fort Pierce. We have an office in Lakeland. We have an office in Fort Myers. So we're kind of the middle, south central, all those. So we have a lot of rural counties as well.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to get a grip because I don't want, if you live in Brevard County, you can't get our services because it's not part of the 19th judicial. But people in what the show reaches, St. Lucie, Indian River, Okeechobee, and Martin counties. Anybody that lives in the 4 counties could come to your office.
Absolutely, yeah. And in the other counties, we have 13 counties we serve.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. What are the and how many attorneys do you have working for you?
Currently, we have 72 employees and approximately, I think it's 30 attorneys we keep hiring because we got special funding to help with the CARES Act. Yeah, from LSC, they gave extra funding. And we've had some other opportunities with the counties. So we are increasing our attorneys to try to handle what we know is coming with all the evictions once the moratoriums end.
Yeah. Oh, I gotcha. Okay. So you have about 30 attorneys right now?
Yeah.
Wow. That's terrific.
Yeah, and we could use like times 10.
Yeah, I know. And then of course you have support staff.
Yeah, we have support staff.
Now you mentioned, and people may not understand what that means. So let's talk about it. Pro bono attorneys, because they need a big shout out.
Absolutely.
I guess in a nutshell, and tell me if I'm wrong, as a lawyer, you are allowed to give back your legal services in certain instances to poor people. Well, or not. You can do things pro bono for not poor people, but I don't know why you would. But your pro bono services, which are an attorney's legal services given to someone who's poor, who really needs it, but it can go through your office,
Right.
And be divvied out, if you will. So you assign, like if I was I'm prohibited to a point to do some of that, but Joe Blotz, who has a private firm, calls you and says, Amy, I'm willing to take on a case, then you would assign a certain case to a private lawyer, and they would do it for free.
Exactly. And usually how it happens is someone will come to us, and sometimes we can't help them just because of the volume that has come in the office that week, or it might be something that, although it's an important case, it's just not within our priorities. Like right now we're focusing on in family law, domestic violence cases, and children's issues. So maybe someone comes in and they need a divorce because they're a senior and they need to get alimony and they've never worked. So that would be a type of case that we would reach out. We have attorneys on our list that have volunteered. We send out a form every year where they sign up for the type of cases that they'll take. And then we can assign that case to them. Our malpractice insurance covers it. We cover the cost. If there's litigation costs or depositions or mediation fees, we cover that. And then that's how we work with the private bar. And it's amazing, some of the cases. I mean, we have attorneys that get involved in cases that go on and on and on. It's really incredible.
And impressive. I mean, lawyers have such a bad reputation right now, and usually, but so it's really true that there are lawyers out there that aren't just chasing ambulances.
So many of them, so many of them. It really is. I mean, it's really like the rare lawyer that ends up like being the stereotype that people talk about. I mean, the lawyers in all of the counties that especially in the 19th Circuit, I think the 19th Circuit is our best circuit right now for pro bono volunteers.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's so important to be mentioned because, I know you guys couldn't function without their help either.
No, and we are having, we're redoing our whole website, and we're going to have a section all just dedicated to the pro bono attorneys and recognizing them. Some don't want to be recognized. Some don't even want to be known or anything, but others, we think it's good to recognize them, and also we'll make it easier for them to grab a case, just get it offline, and we're trying to make it as easy as possible. Oh,
I see. So they can just go online and sign up.
Yeah.
I see. And there is, I know Mark Miller, who is an attorney locally, does so much pro bono
Unbelievable.
work.
Yeah, he does so much pro bono, really important. And then if we ever have an appeal, we call Mark and he'll read it and he'll help us. He's so smart and generous with his time. He was on our board for a little while.
Yeah.
But he's so busy. But Mark, anytime we have something complicated, anything that has to do with an appeal, we send it to Mark, and he gives us, gives us his opinion, and he's such a good writer. So
well, and he won the big award.
Which he deserved it.
He was very for the state.
The entire unbelievable. State. Yeah.
But anyway, okay. So, is it true? I know criminally, we've seen a tremendous uptick in domestic violence cases. Mm-hmm. What about in your world?
Yeah, so I mean, ours has gone up too, because you're getting the people, I guess, charged, and we're getting the people that are the victims. Yeah, so we've seen an increase, and our intakes are up over 20%, and the majority of them are housing matters and domestic violence.
Wow.
And then the other areas, we're having consumer matters, because people are having so many economic difficulties right now. And also, we still get a lot of driver's license requests for people trying to maintain their driver's licenses. But those are domestic violence, and everyone warned, like right when this hit, that was going to happen, because people are stuck at home. They're under a lot more stress.
Yeah.
Children are home.
They're drinking more.
And they said that was another thing to be careful of, just children's issues and abuse of children, because they're not going to school, where a lot of times people recognize bruises and things like that because they're stuck at home. So we try to, we're seeing a lot more of all that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk a moment about, well, and let's back up again. What is the financial criteria to get your services, Amy?
Okay. Yeah, so we have different grants that provide different types of financial criteria, but in general, you have to be at 125% of the poverty guidelines. But really, it's 200%, and we can spend them down. So we can take off, if they're at 200, then we can take off their rent, we can take off fixed expenses. So roughly that comes out to be, for one person, it's a little under 16,000, and a family of four, it's 32,000 approximately. But then
Wow.
our senior grants, there's no financial criteria. A lot of the other grants we have, it goes to 200%, and so we have different. So really, what people should do is just call. You can do an intake online. We have an online intake. We have telephone, so we have people answering the telephone from 8:30 to 5. And that people can call and be screened, and most times the wait is not more than 5 minutes. And we also,
It's a call center
a
kind
call
of,
center,
right?
yeah. And then we
Okay.
have also a hotline now, so which we will be expanding. So you can call and get an appointment to talk to an attorney within. Right now, it's within 24 hours, but in about a month, it will be immediately, because we're setting up a live call center. So we can handle the volume of the questions that people going to have about, and we're already getting questions about the CDC order that was just issued, all the moratoriums. So we're running as fast as we can to try to be able to provide what we can.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, when the live call center is available, and of course the one where you get a call back, I guess, within 24 hours. Can you give us that number?
Yeah, I have that. I brought my little sheet here. Very professional looking sheet. Okay, if you call 888-582-3410, that number will get you to where you can have an intake. You can get to speak to someone about a hotline appointment. And we also have a separate number. I'll read that number one more time. And we also have another number for migrant farm workers throughout the state to call. So the number for anyone to call to get to our office, if you're a client or if you're an attorney wanting to do a pro bono case, is 888-582-3410. And if you're a farm worker, we have a hotline. So we have attorneys all day long, and also at late hours, like I think it goes to like 8:30, so farm workers can get home and call and speak to an attorney. And that number is 855-771-3077.
Wow.
Yeah, our executive director just started that because we noticed that, I mean, our migrant farm workers are some of like the people that so much need our help. They're kind of the invisible clients. They work so hard. They were kind of getting a bad rap when people were saying that they were basically spreading the COVID because of the conditions, and really they weren't being protected where they were working. So we wanted to really get the word out there across the state that we're here to help with employment issues.
Yeah, what issues do the migrant?
We help them with employment. So if they're not getting paid, we help them with living conditions, because a lot of the migrant farm workers are housed on the different farms or the work camps. We make sure that they have safe living conditions. If there's issues that are impacting their health, pesticides. And a lot of times, too, we work with H2a workers that are brought into the country. They're here legally.
What are H2a?
That's some kind of immigration. It stands for, I'm not sure what it stands for, but they get a special visa to come into the country to work. And a lot of times what happens is they have to stay where they're allowed to come over and work in a particular farm. So really they're a lot of times at the sort of the mercy of the farm. And they're so far from their country, and sometimes they don't always get paid what they're supposed to get paid. They're not supposed to be charged certain fees to come over. A lot of times they're exploited and get charged certain fees. We even have cases where there's human trafficking going on, and we've gotten involved and had to get the Department of Justice involved. So that hotline, we're spreading the word. We're letting other legal aid organizations know so they can refer clients. because a lot of
That's
times,
great,
yeah,
Amy.
we all eat
Goodness.
the fresh produce and everything. We don't realize who's out there for really tough conditions, picking it and
Wow.
providing it.
And we're talking mostly in our area, Indiantown, and
And we have a lot over in the west coast of Florida, and really, since we serve the state, it goes all the way down to Miami, and they move around depending on what's growing.
Yeah, I was thinking more in
But
our
yeah,
area.
but we have the oranges, and then I mean, I wish I could. Next time I'll bring on one of our migrant attorneys, because they know a lot more about it than me. But
Wow.
I just know it's important.
Oh, I just
Yeah.
it's not funny, it's tragic, but you don't, you're getting your vegetables at Publix, but you're not thinking about what has happened behind the scenes to get those, and sometimes it's not so pretty.
Yeah, one of the things we do with our new attorneys is we have them watch the show, The Harvest of Shame. If you've ever seen it, you can still watch it on YouTube, but it's back when, back in the 60s, I think it was the 60s when they did the show. But a lot of things haven't changed from that show.
Harvest of Shame?
Harvest of Shame, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but we're trying and making some improvements.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but so often, and I say this pretty much every show, but so often, how does the migrant worker who's living in a hovel with no TV and no air conditioning, everything, find out about you and your help?
And that's such a challenge serving,
Yes,
and even like other rural, like the other people in rural communities. And one of the things with the migrant workers is a lot of times they're afraid, because they're afraid if they talk to us, they'll be blacklisted. They won't be able to come back next time. So we have to we have a whole team that goes out and just builds relationships. They go to the work camps and they try to build relationships with the workers so that they trust them, but we're hoping that the 800 number, and they can do it after hours, we're hoping that will help with them, because a lot of times they can't use their phones in the field. We've had workers call up and say they won't let us bring our phones in the field, and we're not allowed to make phone calls. There's a big element of fear, so we have to try to overcome that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh no! See, these are the things that people don't realize you all do. I mean, it's just it's incredible.
Yeah, I'm really thankful that you invited me to be on the show just so I could share this.
No, because I had no idea, and I should know about this. You know, I mean, shame on me.
No, and there's so many people at the organization that would be able to do like even a much better job of telling you everything you do. But
no.
I was the only one available. Sorry.
No, this is great. So let's talk. We've only got about 5 minutes left. The time always goes so fast. The other, I think, hot spot area would be the drive to work, initiative, if you will. Again, go over that, and by the way, all these numbers you have read out, they are available on your website,
yes,
right?
On our website. And we had the online intake is on our website, and we will be updating it. We're hiring like an incredible company to update it. But I wanted to give you one other resource for everyone. Why we're getting ours updated, you can go to this one. And you can always go to this one, Florida Law Help. It's all one word, floridalawhelp.org. And they have they have a guided interview. So if someone has a legal problem, we'll ask them questions. It goes all through it. And what they have up there now is an eviction response form builder. So they answer the questions, and it will build an eviction response. And they've updated it. It was done by Jacksonville Legal Aid. And they've updated it, and it even includes the declaration that's required for the CDC order that just came out.
Talk for a moment about that.
Okay, so there's executive orders that the governor has issued, and then there's the CARES Act orders and the HUD moratoriums. But just recently, I think it was last week, the CDC issued an order to protect public health because of the risks that would be involved. I mean, they're talking about if all the evictions, they're anticipating something I just read today, more than maybe 20 million possible evictions in the country. So the CDC issued an order to protect the public health, tolling or staying evictions if the people can't pay their rent. And so one of the things that you have to be, you have to apply, you have to do a declaration that you've tried to get assistance, that you've had a substantial loss of income since COVID-19. You will be homeless or have to live like with several people. And don't quote me on exact terms of the declaration,
right.
but you have to declare certain things under penalty
of perjury,
or and basically you give that to your landlord, and then your landlord, at least right now, is not allowed to get moved
to
towards
evict
you. And so we're helping people. We want people to know about that. So we're doing a lot of legal education. But that website, floridalawhelp.org, if you go on that website, you can, even call us, because we'll help anybody that we can help.
Right.
But if not, for other, if we can't, we'll be referring them to that website where they can do their own answer to an eviction and include what they need to.
Yeah. Their own legal answer to the eviction.
Right,
and
it'll help them draft it. It goes through like an interview with them, and then it's really helpful.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's, of course, the other side of this, of course, and I'm sure you hear it, is the landlord. They're like screaming bloody murder. Look, I got bills too, and
and we get that. I mean, landlords are people. They have bills, and landlords are the ones that are providing. There's a shortage, a crisis of affordable housing in Florida and other areas of the country too. So our landlords, we like landlords that follow the law and do what they're supposed to do, and and that's why I'm happy. Everyone's happy that the moratoriums also are stopping foreclosures in many cases.
Right.
So, but I think what we're hoping to do, and we're talking to people in different counties, is try to set up something where we bring the landlords and the tenants together with the organizations that are providing the assistance, and try to work out something.
So that the landlord can get money in the meantime.
And so that we can, evictions don't have to go forward, because the people get the assistance that's provided under the CARES Act, the landlords get paid, and the people get to stay in the home. So we just need to kind of get everyone together to try to slow down the eviction process a little bit.
Kind of like a mediation.
Yeah, a mediation, because right now it's 5 days. Like once this all gets going again, it's 5 days. But it's happening. It's happening in Palm Beach. Our attorneys down there, they have a program down there. And they went to what was sort of like a case management conference where several of the evictions were worked out. So we're trying to sort of replicate that as much as possible. And we need other people involved, because we don't sound like we have all this power to get everything done. But we just sort of had to have some round tables and everyone come together, because, like you said, it's not just the tenants; it's the landlords.
Right.
It's preserving housing, and so.
Well, we are out of time.
Okay.
Thank you. This was wonderful.
Thank you.